Hello once again, Monster Hobbies Model Car Garage Mechanics, and welcome back to another great unboxing video. So I've got another blast from the past treat for you. This is AMT's 1927 Ford Model T fire truck. Now this kit again is one of those beauties from the late 60s, maybe even early 70s, and hasn't really been on the market since. And I was fortunate enough to get this from my good friend John Harries, who unfortunately passed away in his estate sale. So this is really wonderful. It is still shrink wrapped, but I'm not 100% sure if it's factory shrink wrapped or something that my friend John Harries did later on. I think it is, because why would there be a piece of tape in here? It's folded up like a Christmas present. So yeah, I don't think this is authentically sealed, so hopefully everything is in here. But without further ado, let's go down to the bench, take off this crazy shrink wrap, and see if it's all here. Now let's go all the way back to 1927, where if it got too hot while doing the Charleston, there was always a great fire truck in order to put out the fire. So what we have is the 1927 Street Rod T, and as my friend John Harries put on here, circa 1970s AMT model kit. 27 Street Rod fire truck, unbuilt, for 50 bucks. Now I got this from his estate sale, so that was always nice. So here we have the hot rodded version, or the Flamin' Street Rod show rod version of this kit. You can see the wonderful chrome on here, chrome radiator, chrome headlights, the exhaust on our 4-cylinder engine. We also have these great little tanks on the side, step plate, the ladders, the seat on here, the little box in the back, all these cool details. Turning the box to the side, it says build a 27 hot rod or old time fire truck. Here it shows that we have 6 old time vinyl tires, including 2 spares, the Model T engine, which I think would not be painted red, but at any rate, looks pretty hot. And then here we have the actual fire truck. It says old timer, typical small town fire truck of the 1920s. Now here we've got that seat on there. We've also got the fire hat and then the box in the back. Now my uncle's Dykes Encyclopedia shows how to build these boxes for a real Model T, and they're using them as a service vehicle for a garage. But basically the same kind of box can be created to build a fire truck. Look at that great, I think this is an old fire extinguisher off the back here. We've got the lanterns. We also have these grab rails along the side and the bell, fireman's axe, everything you need to build a perfect 1920s fire truck. Now this is part of the Street Rod series, so that would put it around 1973, I think. So that's basically the vintage of this kit. I'm not going to look it up on Scalemates, but you guys could do that in your spare time if you want. So here we have mag wheels, we got the custom headlights, optional front bumperettes, we've got our steering wheel and column, floor mounted shifter, and then if we move over here, we have the Fronty double overhead cam engine conversion. Frontenac, that was actually Louis Chevrolet's company after he left GM. There was a sort of thing that happened there, but he was creating racing parts because he was a race car driver. And a lot of the things he built were hop-up bits for the Model T and whatnot. We've got drop front axles and radius rods as well. Now I don't know about you, but I've been really waiting to open this up for all of you since I got this kit from John Harries, and that was quite a bit ago. So here we go, the moment has arrived, and there it is. Wow, molded in red too, just like the real fire truck. Now I pity the fool that's got to paint this thing white for the Street Rod version. I'd just leave it red. So here we have the instruction sheet, which we'll take a look at in a minute. Everything is still bagged. Yeah, this would be worth the 50 bucks. Or more, I guess, now. Look at all that. Perfect. One bag contains it all. Now down below we have the chrome, which has also been put on red plastic. Oh, this is from a 32 Ford. Bonus treat. That is cool. I love this. This is from the Street Rod Series one as well, because that's got that really cool steering wheel in there, which is not on newer ones. So, oh, I guess maybe this is for the mag wheels. I don't know. That's interesting that that's in there. Well, bonus for me. Like we say at work, if you get an extra, food thing in from the warehouse that shouldn't be in there, bonus for everybody. All right. There we've got our factory tires. These look really raw. A lot of flash on them, and they're rock hard. So they will have to take a little bath in some really nice boiling water. Okay, we've got headlights here. And another light. That's gone quite yellow. We've got our factory chrome in here. Oh, there's the wheels molded on. So yeah, I don't know why that 32 chrome frame is in there. There's that tank, and then our lights. Wow, really cool stuff. Another one of the stock tires. There's supposed to be 6 in here. And then we've got our street rod tires. Here we have the instruction sheet for our 27T street rod. This, of course, is our fire truck. So let's open these things up and check them out. Now our first panel here shows our wonderful Model T engine being glued together, as well as the custom Frontenac version. Now, unlike the 1925 Ford Model T kits, you do not actually get the special of building 2 complete cars. This one you only get to build 1 car. Now, we have the upgraded Model T engine, which includes the coil box up top, otherwise known as the buzz box. This is a 2-piece affair with the top and the box itself, which glues on the side of the engine cylinder head. But basically the rest is straight up Model T from the past. Right and left hand side engine block, and the fan being glued right there. Oil pan coming up, and transmission pan as well, and the stock intake exhaust manifold with the updraft carburetor. Now, the cool part about the buzz box being mounted on the engine is it takes it off of the firewall. Over here we have the Frontenac race version. So you have your stock right and left hand side engine block, but here you put on the cam drive cover, and then you've got the dual overhead cam cylinder head on here. Carburetors mounted up underneath on the intake manifold, and then you've got your camshaft covers right and left hand side. They're not valve covers. It still has the spark plugs going up the center, just like here. Then you've got your exhaust header and a header cap, upper header connector down here, and the lower, and then your oil pan up underneath. So that is if you really want to go fast. Now, this was also a track engine for Model T racers on the oval tracks. Step 2 is showing our wheel assembly. So this is for the old timer, as they say. So you got your 4 stock wheel backs and the stock wheel fronts, and they sandwich between the tire, and then there is a hubcap. Now, it doesn't show it here, but it is important to know that the stock outer spoke is supposed to go in between the crosses of the spoke in the back. So it would be like this. Okay, I don't know how well that worked because I couldn't see the camera itself, but at any rate, that's how it goes. So then here we've got the rod wheels. So you got your hollow tires in the back, and then the front wheel goes into here, and the rear wheel into the rear wheel back. Now, I do believe the front wheel actually has a hole in the center, so watch for that. Our third image is quite long and large, so I actually had to put the camera to the side here. So what we have is the chassis for the rod version, and we have our frame here, and the fender's glued to the frame. It says trim off rear bumper braces. Now, then we've got our horn going into the fender. There's a hole there somewhere. Got our front shock absorbers and our dropped axle with a tie rod in the back, radius rods on the sides, and then we have our steering linkage to inside a frame rail, and then here it's gluing on the back of that one wheel. And yes, we have our front wheels, and that little hole there, you slip it onto here and make sure there's no seam lines in there, and then the little dust cap. So you clean that up, put your wheel on there, then scrape the chrome off here, carefully drill any chrome out of the cap, and then you glue the cap onto there, being careful not to glue it to the wheel and glue the wheel solid. So just a little tiny bit of the tester's tube glue in there would do the trick. We've got our rear spring out the back with shock absorbers again, a 2-piece differential, and the torque tube up the center. We've got our backing plates here and here, and look at how this snakes down. Doot, 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 metal axle, doot, 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 and back wheels. But once you get all this together, you'll have your street rod chassis. But what about the old timer? Now here we've got the old timer. All right, anyway. Hope you found that funny. Okay, so we've got our fenders, and again it says to trim off the rear bumper braces because that box is going to go over the top. And that's okay. So then we've got our horn here in the frame again. We've got the stock rear spring, and we have our 2-piece differential and our stock front axle and the backing plates. Now I do believe the 27 Model T had brakes all the way around. They would be drum brakes, of course, because by that time they had figured out how to mount brakes in the front and have the wheels steer, which they couldn't figure out before using rod brakes. And then we have our front radius rod down here, metal axle with the stock wheels. This time it only just goes doot, 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 and through the hole. This one snakes around. Look at that. So you got your wheels and the backing plates, and then it snakes up here. Metal axle goes through. The backing plates will glue onto the ends of your differential rear axle in the back. Here we get to the body assembly, and this is where it gets really cool. Somewhere I actually have one of these seat bases as well, as an additional thing that they included in one of the kits, but I've never seen it again. I think it's in the 27 Ford police car, actually, just sitting there. So you know the two kits are related. At any rate, so starting at number 1, we have a rear platform here, which is a cool part. And then we've got our side panels, a rear grab rail going up the top here, the chemical tank. So this is a chemical wagon, I believe. A hose connection and the hose storage box. Then we've got our seat base and our seat cushion, the dashboard, and you have to open the flash holes. And then we got our 3-piece radiator, so there's the upper radiator part, which nicely covers the upper radiator hose. Then we've got the radiator itself and the radiator shell. Here we have the final assemblies for the kit, and I thought I would show this in 2 pieces because we got the front and the back. So here we have 2 helmets, 2 lanterns, 2-piece fire extinguisher, so I was right. We've got the fire axe, the ladder going on the other side, 2 hose nozzles, and we have the stock license plate assembly for the old timer, or we got the custom one for if you're building the hot rod. And it looks like this has 2 lights in it, as opposed to the one for the hot rod. And then here we have the rest of the instructions. So we've got a 2-piece siren. We've got the option of the custom headlights or the old timer headlights, headlight bezel insert and the lens, option of the stock radiator cap, the wings, or the bird, or actually that's 2 pieces. So either or. And you got your search light up here, your steering column rod, your steering wheel, the stock steering column, which is quite different actually. Stock steering column, old timer, through dash to tie rod. Interesting. We've got a rod gear shift lever. We've got the brake lever. We got the pedals, 4 step plates to the running boards and rear platform. We have 2 gas tank ends. So the gas tank is a long cylinder sticking under the seat. The spare tire carrier with our 2 stock tires and the retainer right there. We've got a grab rail going on the side of the firewall.
We also have the hood in place, the two bumpers, which are an option, or the full bumper in front. Actually, these two bumperettes are for the back, and the spare tire would go in between the two. We've got the crank here, and the fender brace license plate for the old timer, which goes in between the two headlights. So overall, you can see this is a pretty exciting looking fire truck. Can't wait to see the plastic parts. So what's it like to cut open a bag on an originally sealed 1970s model kit? Feels good. Feels pretty good. Now, none of this stuff has actually been clipped off the parts trees in here, and there is some pretty cool things. They've had a full parts tree, and they actually folded it over on itself instead of clipping it off like they do now, which was really interesting to see when I opened this up. At any rate, what we have are these wonderful fenders molded in red plastic, and boy, they look really sharp compared to black. And we've got the custom wheel backs here. We've got our stock front axle and rear spring, as well as the frame. And I always found the 27 Model T kit goes together a lot nicer than the 25T kits, and that's because the spring is actually notched in the back, whereas in the 25 kits it's not. But there is a mold mark right in the center of that notch, which you'll have to clean up. But boy, look at that. Mold marks underneath need to be cleaned. There is quite a bit of flash on this kit, unfortunately, but that's an easy remedy. You have the textured plates in here, but unlike the 25Ts, it doesn't say Ford as a name in them. But overall, again, really nice looking. Love these kits. Just love them. Look at how glossy that is. That is nice. Could just lightly sand this and clear coat that red plastic. In fact, maybe I'll do that. Our next parts tree includes the front of our spoked wheels, as well as the box with the hose in it, and our two fireman hats, the engine or the cylinder head, I guess. We got the buzz box in here and the little shroud behind the radiator, the upper expansion tank, I believe it is, our differential top. We've got our tie rod assembly, the wheel backing plates, the front wheel backing plate. I guess the other one is somewhere in the kit. We also have the steering wheel in here, the top of the buzz box, the intake exhaust manifold, and the updraft carburetor, and that lever. And now this is what I was talking about. This is actually, was actually just folded over, not clipped off, like it should be clipped there. So now that that's fallen down, we can see those wonderful fire hats. Again, really cool stuff. I just love this red. There's our hose box, and you got mold marks in the corners. But I think what I would do inside here maybe is paint this wood and then paint the hose and the ends. And that would look really nice. Some mold marks on the top here, so again, you'd have to sand that flat. Looking at the other components, you got the spark plugs running up the center of the cylinder head, radiator mesh on there, really nice stuff. Mold marks on the back, unfortunately where you're going to see it inside as you open the hood. Maybe it's not too bad, but you can see a lot of flash in here. But overall, again, like, when have you seen this fire truck ever? Here's our next parts tree. And there's the answer for where the other wheel back is. It's on this parts tree. We got the upper part of our differential as well as the torque tube here and the rods in the back. We've got our three pedals, the fan, the headlight backs, as well as the rear of our wheels. And then we've got our firewall here and the step plate in the back. Now these parts are really nice. See the textured plate in here. And the gauges right in there. Textured plate. It's got the bend going up around the rear axle and everything. Mold marks up underneath and on the back of the firewall, which is unfortunate, but easy to fix. Look at this little plastic blob here. Almost looks like a rope or something. Again, that's just a mistake part, but overall, this looks wonderful. Our next parts tree includes more of the fire apparatus. So here we have the box sides. We've got a hose here. We also have that chemical tank. Then we've got the retainer for our extra wheels and this little rod right here. I don't think, is this a part? What is that? Is that just, looks like the spotlight. Maybe it is. Look at the gas tank in there. It goes down quite deep along the sides. Really cool. Or sorry, the chemical tank. And oh, I know what that bar is. That's the one that goes across here and here. It's a grab rail thing. But overall, again, really nice. Looks like they've got a little fender molded in place here. Pretty cool. I guess that's a filler panel for the fender. But at any rate, nice detail on here. It is pretty flat, but it is a Model T. Now, as they were building these back in the 20s, they would just make them out of wood or maybe some sheet metal, but it's just basically flat sides, as you see here. On this parts tree, we have more fireman detail bits. We have the two ladders, we've got the fireman's axe, and then we've got some of the custom bits like the drag or rod, I believe, as well as these sides here, the radius rods, and we've got our shock absorbers, and then there's the stock steering column for the fireman. But actually, I don't know, it almost looks like it's got turn signal levers on the side here. So I'm not sure if that's actually supposed to be the custom hot rod version. But at any rate, it's there. Look at the axe, is quite nice. Give him the axe, the axe, the axe. Okay, and then there we've got the ladders. Lots of mold marks on there and seam lines, which you'd have to clean up. But overall, I mean, it's not bad for what it is. And to wrap up the red components, we have a very short parts tree here. So what that contains is the seat. Now this seat is actually meant for the, like the police car, the Phaeton. But it's not going to be used in this kit. So I've got a seat for a seat, actually. I've got that fire seat from the Phaeton kit itself. And now I've got a red seat from the fire truck for the Phaeton. And here we've got the dashboard. We've got our three pieces of our engine, the right and left hand side, as well as the oil pan and the transmission pan. And then we've got the ring, the mounting ring for the fenders for our two spare tires. And I've got a little set of shock absorbers here, and there's the fireman's seat and the hood. So the seat itself is quite simplistic. Not much going on there. Actually, no wait, this is not the Phaeton seat. This is the actual correct fireman's seat. So it would just drop right in. So I guess I don't have that swap after all. Oh well. There's the seat, or the engine, as well as the seat. But you can see the nice detailing on the seat. There's the oil pan with all the bolts and everything, and the dashboard with the gauges. And our hood includes the correct louvers for 27. You will have to sand it flat in order for it to fit into the car. And there are some mold marks up underneath. I guess this won't help, a red stick on red plastic, but you can see where the mold marks are. Again, nice detailing on here. Boy, I can't wait to build it. Here we have our chrome parts tree, and there's a lot of cool bits. There's the hose ends as well as those tanks. We have our lanterns off the back, the grab handles, our sirens, the bumpers, the Frontenac covers. We also have the wheels and the front bumper and our license plate and the headlight brace, the radiator, the chrome bits for that tank under the seat, and then our dropped axle and all these goodies. This fire truck is going to look really cool up against my dad's fire trucks in that collection. So yeah, I can't wait, man. This is neat stuff. Again, there's mold marks on the back of this radiator shroud, so you want to get those flattened out before you put the radiator inside. There's the little wings and the bird. Again, awesome looking stuff. Yep, lots of fun with these AMT models. So for this video, I thought I would include the glass with the tires because this is all there is for glass. One little lens for a spotlight and then two for the headlights. And there are some lines in the headlights, so these go north and south, and that's it. Now here we got 7 stock tires, so AMT gave me a bonus. But look at how much flash and everything is in these tires. They are really bad. I'm glad that round 2 was able to eliminate all the flash in this. Flash seam line right up the center. I hope I can spin these down somehow. But overall, if you can get your eyes out of the flash zone, they are nice tires with a nice tread pattern and sidewall pattern on them. And although they're pretty rock hard, there's some flexibility to them. So that's good for me. These ones are your custom tires, and this one has frosted over, which happens with some of the black vinyl, you know, from sitting around for maybe 40 years or more. I think this kit is basically as old as I am, so that's 50 years now. The tread pattern on here is quite nice. It actually looks to scale. It's got the Goodyear erased letters. These are the old polyglass tires. I think that says L60. Not totally sure. But they do have the web in the center, and you'll have to remove that in order to get the wheel to fit in there. Now there is one little bit of something that was unfortunate that happened in this kit, and we'll take a look at that coming up next. And here we have the decal sheet for our 1927 Ford fire truck. And the really sad part about this is those tires were sitting on the decal sheet and they burnt through it. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that is really sad because these pinstripes would have been nice to have on there. But again, these are just sitting on top of the decal sheet. And I think if you were to soak them in water, they would just explode. A clear coat of lacquer over the top would cure that. However, I don't know, I don't think with a tire burn in here, these are salvageable, which again is really sad because there is some nice detail on there. The 27 FD down below, and look at these nice little coil pinstripes in here. Awesome stuff, but sadly they're gone. So I'm going to have to hand pinstripe this one, which will be a nice little challenge. My dad used to do that, so hopefully I can get up to his level of standard there. And yeah, it's really cool, but I don't think I'll be doing these triple twist things in here. I don't know if I can actually do scroll work like that, but we'll see what happens.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that look at our AMT 1927 Ford Model T fire truck. Another great addition for your dioramas. Now, I've shown 2 police cars in the past, panel vans, roadsters, tall T's, and many, many other things. Oh, the fruit wagon as well. That was really cool. And if you're looking for firemen for this model kit, check out these great ones from ICM. These are part of their 1910 series, but I don't think much would change between 10 and 25 for fire equipment. We have this fireman with a little boy, and the other fireman is putting on his fire hat onto the little boy's head, which is pretty cool. And then we have these guys, which are driving in an earlier 1910 style Model T, but they are the one guy is the driver and the other guy is pointing out where the fire is. So hopefully these kits can fit into the entire scene of your 27 Ford Model T. And if not, there is earlier Model Ts from ICM if you want fire equipment that's Model T related. So if you want to see what great model kits that I have for sale on my website, check it out, www.monster-hobbies.ca. We can ship around the world. You might have to pay for the shipping cost on that one, but again, contact us for details. So thank you once again for watching this great model kit unboxing video. Happy model building, and until next time, yeah, just have fun building models. I kind of lost it there. Like, subscribe, and share this channel with all your friends, and we'll see you in the next video.
So this extra bonus chrome parts tree that was in there from the 32 Ford kit, I know exactly where this is going to end up. I'm going to put that parts tree right here in this AMT 1932 Ford street rod sedan that I found at that reclaim center, because the original chrome parts tree in this kit, it's like all cut up in pieces. So here is the fresh one from our fire truck going right in there, where I can restore this salvage yard find kit with a fresh parts tree.